a car online routine, but they've also opened the door to big-time scammers. I'm Kim Commando for DraftKings Pick 6. Stay tuned to hear all that DraftKings has to offer. DraftKings, the crown is yours. And no, Carvana and the others I mentioned are not scams, but scammers are running websites that look just like the big online used car companies and dealers. Buyers who think that they're too savvy to fall for a scam like this are doing just that. The web experience feels right. The financing is real. There's just one problem. The car never shows up at your door. The scammers are gone. The finance company you borrowed from expects you to pay the whole amount. Start your day with my free newsletter. Sign up right now at getkim.com. Ready to win some real cash during the basketball playoffs? Check out Pick 6 from DraftKings. When it comes to basketball payouts, DraftKings Pick 6 dunks on the competition, including Prize Picks. Hit all your picks and score higher minimum payouts on Pick 6 Plus, even more cash if you outscore the competition. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code KIM. That's code KIM for new customers to play $5, get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Better payouts, bigger wins. Only with Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 and over. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. One per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics. With 27 providers and 3 locations, someone can see you today.
It's Talkback, Central Louisiana's longest-running talk show. Whether it's the guests or the callers, Talkback is where Central Louisiana begins its conversation.
And good morning, Central Louisiana, and welcome to Talkback. I'm your host, Sandra McQueen. Joining me in the studio today is Nathan Martin, and if you're watching us live, we probably just made a really interesting face because we are getting crazy echoes into our headphones. Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's like yesterday we had gremlins galore, and it looks like they're continuing and chasing audio in a different direction. So it's probably not bothering. Hopefully, it's not bothering the listeners.
Right. I hope not. Let us know. I'm monitoring the comments. So if you hear echo online or on the app, let us know, and we'll be able to at least know it's only in our heads. It's probably just in our heads. Yeah, I have voices in my head sometimes, like right now.
It's in my ears. I know it's not in my head, but...
well, no, my ears are attached to my head. I was trying to be funny, but it didn't work, I guess.
Okay, I'm sure it's in your head. I was there, so it's all right. I was following. Happy April 15th, which we know as National Tax Day, which, as our show prep said, very few people celebrate.
Well, it was all that was talked about in all the pre-shows. I listened this morning to America in the Morning and Good Morning America and the Daily Wire, the Morning Wire, and it's all everybody's talking about is tax day, tax day, tax day. And then so one of them made a comment about there's like 9 different states that have automatic extensions. And so some people or portions of some states, maybe not all the entire state, but Louisiana was not one of those. Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas, Tennessee, portions of West Virginia, Los Angeles affected by the fires, they've all been given automatic extensions to a certain date. But Louisiana not included in the automatic extension this year. I think we were last year, but not this year.
You know what? That means we had no natural disasters, so I'll file on time.
That's a good thing. Well, I always file for an extension no matter what. So for 20 years now, I've always filed for an extension. But it's just been a routine. When I was in business with my brother years ago, it was just complex. There were complexities of it. And so by the time we got all the employee stuff out and trying to figure out our inventory stuff and whatnot, so we just made it easier on our accountant. And he didn't mind because he's at the point now where he just automatically files me an extension whether I ask for it or not, because you can file for it in February, and then if you don't need it, it's no big deal. So that's what he does for me.
No, we actually got ours done on time this year,
Well, good for
which
you.
surprised. Yeah, usually we're in the extension, and of course it's your federal returns due today. If you file Louisiana tax returns, which most all of us do, those are not due till May 15th.
Right. Yeah, and I actually help some seniors in our church file their taxes, and found some online programs that are free for seniors, and just kind of help make that available to them, and got those all done last week, wrapped up. So yeah, get it done today. I don't know if the post office is open till midnight. Used to deal, there'd be like a guy standing there you could drive through, and hand it to him, but I don't know if they still do that anymore.
I don't know, but I would suspect it would
online.
only be, if they are, it's only the main post office on
Yeah.
Fulton. But you're right, most of us electronic
I'm thinking
file now, so they probably don't do that
It's
anymore.
almost required. I don't know if it is required or not.
Yeah, but I remember in Nashville, the main post office downtown where you could drive through to drop, they would stand there collecting. You'd always have the TV cameras watching everybody sort of drop off their returns on the
That's right.
last day of filing.
That's
So,
right.
But anyway, but yes, never a fun time, unfortunately, for most of us filing our tax returns. And, I hope next year we see some effect from the flat tax that they have in the Louisiana income tax, because that's the Louisiana income tax is the one now. Having my own business, I am
It's
much more
complicated.
attuned. It's not only complicated, it's expensive.
Well,
and
I pay more in Louisiana taxes than I do in federal taxes. I don't know if most people do, but it's the reality.
Insane. So hopefully we'll see some effect from the flat tax. But let's see. Speaking of Louisiana legislature, the governor opened things up yesterday, so they are back in session today. And joining us at 8:05 will be Tyler Bridges. Tyler is the chief political reporter for The Advocate. He's an author. He's written several articles about what's happening in Baton Rouge. And since he was there to hear the governor live and in person, we're going to have him join us at 8:05 and give us sort of a firsthand account of what he's seeing, what he's hearing. Clearly, with insurance is the hot topic, if you will, although I'm very curious why we're not hearing more about the budget, especially with the failure of all the constitutional amendments. But and then you have the challenges where Temple and the governor seem to be at cross purposes on several pieces of legislation. But by all accounts, the House is moving quickly to pass their bills. They have them scheduled before insurance and I'll think of the other committee in a minute, but they're hoping to get their bills through Tuesday and Wednesday and start voting on them this week.
Well,
And the Illuminator even speculated that one of the reasons the House is moving quickly with their package, and not everything they want is on the governor's wish list, but if he were to veto any of those bills, it would buy them time to override the veto.
no, so that's the
So
strategy
getting it
behind
done
that.
early, at least
Okay.
according to the Illuminator.
Wow. Well, they have an article in there that Landry's saying, talking about the two little boys crying wolf, talking about insurance companies and trial lawyers, both. So in his speech, I didn't see the speech, and so I'm really going to depend on Tyler to give us an update on how things went down yesterday. I've only read the updates.
Yeah, and everything we said was, or at least everything we've read says it was a lukewarm reception to the speech. So we'll get, again, a firsthand account from someone who was actually in the chamber.
Look, I'm reading right now on the Illuminator site. It talked about how Landry had made a comment. He was tired of seeing more. I'm just as tired of seeing Morris Bart as I am of seeing the lizard. And it said Bart later hit back on social media. Maybe I should learn how to hunt, he wrote.
That fight between them started last week.
Really?
So yeah,
Wow.
that was played last week, and yes, there's not a lot of love lost there right now.
Wow.
And if you go into an article, actually, that Tyler Bridges authored, this would have been probably close to a month ago, where they were talking about the fight for supremacy in New Orleans between Morris Bart and Gordon McCarran, as Gordon's trying to move more into to NOLA and carve out a position where Morris Bart is the most successful and prolific lawyer in New Orleans, at least on the personal injury side. But they talked about in that Gordon tried to get Morris Bart to ante up for the governor's election, and Morris Bart chose not to.
Someone pointed that out to me and said, that doesn't play well when Bart didn't get the invitation to go, but the one who made the donation did. So those are the kinds of things that I think people struggle with. You know, the pay-to-play scheme on politics is definitely frustrating. I just got a message, no echo listening via the app, just a faint background teletype sound that's been going on the last 2 weeks. And I agree, we've been hearing
We've been hearing the teletype. We can't seem to get it out of the system. I know Dave was in here working yesterday a little bit, but I'm glad they're not hearing the echo. That would drive you more crazy than the teletype. We thought it was the live feed interfering, but we shut everything down on Friday, and we still had the little teletype click.
We hear that too. We're very sorry. Don't know what that is. I'm gonna have to call my dad. He's an old Morse code guy. He was a radio operator in his Navy days in the late 50s and early 60s, and he did what they call the speed key, which it's a sideways key that you do. And then it was so funny when I was a kid. If there was ever Morse code on a TV show, he would quote it for us before they would tell you what it was being said, because he was so good at it.
Interesting.
I have to ask him if he can understand what's going on in our head right now.
If he can figure out what's going on in your head, I'm all in. So, all right. Well.
So wait a minute now. Wait a minute. Hold on now.
You keep going there, Nathan.
In my head. Okay, yeah. I do tell people my head's a scary place to be, so I guess I have to own it.
Absolutely. But anyway, session should be very interesting. Other things they're going to be looking at, of course, will be the teacher pay raise issue. Again, with the budget, we're not hearing a lot from our members. They've all kind of said, look, we're really focused on insurance. What I sense is they're expecting the revenue estimating committee to come in and save the day in May and say they found enough money that they don't have to make drastic cuts. Now, whether that will include enough money for a teacher raise is to be determined, but I think we're going to find that the increase in the sales tax has been very lucrative for the state coffers. So we'll get that report in May. And then there's the debate about what they call the LA Gator, which is the educational savings accounts where you can apply for monies to send your child to any school, public or private. If it was private, it would pay private tuition. The governor wants to increase the funding on that. And he's getting some pushback from the legislature that believes that from legislators who believe we need to increase teacher pay rather than fund the education savings account. So that's probably going to heat up to be a battle.
High-level stakes or high-level discussions as well. So
absolutely. Now, does Pineville have, and I have not seen the capital outlay bill filed yet. I was looking, HB2 does not seem to be filed yet. I'm going to ask Tyler about that. But does Pineville have anything on its wish list that you've sent down?
I don't think we did anything new. We're still working on the Marshall office. It was approved a couple of years ago, but funding has been held up, and so they're still working on trying to clear that. I mean, it was approved, but, you know.
Are you like priority 5 or?
I thought it was 1, but I'm not positive.
Right.
I'm not positive. I don't
Ones usually get funded, so there shouldn't be any. If it was a 1, there should have been
Isn't it weird, like,
in the bond issuance.
Isn't it like 1 and 5 or better than 2, 3, and 4?
No, I think it's order 1 through 5.
Is it really? I was told. Well, I don't know. But
you could be right. But my understanding from my England days is, one was money in the bank. 2, 3, 4, and 5 are.
You
got to work your way up.
It didn't get bond. Didn't go for any kind of bond or anything. I know that. But wherever it's at, I know that there's a lot of discussions taking place to try to move it forward. And that's that. As far as I know, that's the only thing that Pineville has been working on. We hadn't tried anything new for this session, but I'm not completely aware.
Absolutely. Well, we'll get some updates on that bill as well and see where the legislature goes from here.
Yeah. And what I want to do during the break, if we have a chance, is I might try one of these biscuits that were given to us.
Yes, we had lovely breakfast delivered. Yes, tell them where our breakfast came from.
Quibidos has opened their new Quibidos kitchen there on the corner of Bringhurst and I think it's Overton. I think the kind of where Bolton runs into the Overton area. It used to be Porky's for years and years, and they now opened yesterday was their grand opening. And Chef John asked me to stop by this morning and said he had something for us, and so I came through the drive-through line, and he sent us a bag of I haven't even opened them yet. So he said there's a couple of biscuits and some potato logs in there. So we'll maybe get a chance in the break.
Maybe. It's a busy show. Anyway, speaking of, we'll take our first break, see if we can figure out what's going on with our audio, and we'll be right back after this.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics with 27 providers and 3 locations. Someone can see you today. Stick around. More of Talkback is on the way.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Johnson & Johnson is holding its earnings outlook steady despite President Donald Trump moving toward imposing tariffs on the pharmaceutical industry. J&J's chief financial officer said the administration's investigation into drug imports could actually be beneficial. He says the investigation is likely to show most medicines shipped to the U.S. are cheap generics, not the innovative therapies sold by J&J. Stocks started the shortened trading week with gains led by tech shares, with the White House signaling a tariff reprieve on key consumer electronics, even though the White House also said that was temporary. The Dow yesterday rose 312 points, the S&P added 43, the NASDAQ was up 107. This morning, stock futures are slipping. Tomatoes from Mexico are set to get pricier in a few months. The Commerce Department plans a tariff of nearly 21% on most tomato shipments from Mexico starting in mid-July, saying a current agreement failed to protect U.S. growers. Gina Cervetti, Bloomberg Radio.
Hope can strengthen. Hope can encourage. Hope can empower. Together we can educate, encourage, empower. Be the change.
Change a child's tomorrow and volunteer as a CASA today. There are over 500 children in foster care in Central Louisiana, and our goal is to provide advocacy and support for every one of them. We need you to be the change for children in foster care and help change despair into hope. Volunteer trainings are going on now throughout Central Louisiana and will continue throughout the year. Find out more and apply today at children'sadvocacy.net or call 318-445-5678. Don't wait to choose to be the safe adult and constant support in a child's life. Start making a difference today at children'sadvocacy.net or call 318-445-5678.
If you'd like to take part in the show today, call the BON Bank Talk line at 442-8255. That's 442-TALK. And remember, if you're looking to purchase or refinance your home, call Christina Bagwell at the BON Bank Mortgage Department at 448-2430.
Now back to Talkback, 970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO.
And we're back, and that echo and that noise is still driving me
And
crazy.
it's only when our mics are on. It's not during the ad. So it's got to be something with the... It could be this new equipment that's been added in. They brought in new cameras for us for the live stream, so maybe there's some interference coming there.
There's something where we're getting some buzz. So sorry, we're distracted because it's a very distracting.
We're sorry.
We are sorry. So, well, let's see. Easter week, we had our friends from Journey Church in here, but no big
Yeah.
for your church as well.
I heard that and heard him talk about, the Super Bowl for churches. It kind of is. I mean, every church is certainly, it's Easter is the reason that Christianity exists. The resurrection is certainly the central point of the faith. In my daily Bible reading that I'm doing on my own, I'm happen to be reading through Exodus right now, and I'm actually in the Passover, which we're in the week of unleavened bread for our Jewish brothers and sisters. And there's you can't have Easter without Passover. It was the week of Passover, of course. He was crucified. The New Testament teaches Jesus as the Passover lamb. And so there's that connection there. But then there's the disconnect between, I forget what year it was, 1,000 years ago, is that the Catholic Church decided that they wanted to have a more consistency on Easter to fall according to, a certain Sunday after the first full moon of the spring equinox or something like that. And so some years, Easter and Passover are very close. Like in this year, Passover was this past Saturday night, and Easter is this coming Sunday. So there's only a week apart from them. But some years it can be several weeks apart, which kind of creates, to me, a disconnect from where the origins of faith really are. So I'm glad I really like it when they're close together, because that makes that's the whole point. The whole point is that, he was sacrificed as a lamb for our sins, and then he was raised from the dead, and that's what we celebrate. So yeah, it's a big week for, two of the three largest faith traditions in the world.
Absolutely. Now, will you have multiple services this week? Is it just Easter for you, or?
We'll just dress up a little more, that's all.
Yeah.
We'll have a backdrop for people to take photos. That's kind of a big deal for people to do. But our church isn't really into the Easter bunny and the Easter eggs, those kinds of things. We tend to focus more on the message of it. And so the service will be very centered around the resurrection. But there'll be a lot of great things happening in the community. I think Saturday there's a big Easter egg hunt at Fort Randolph and Fort Bulow. I hear other ones. I know Journey Church. Did he say they were going to have 10,000 after
Something
every
like
service?
that. Well, I think for the weekend,
Okay.
maybe. I don't know if it's after every service, but
Well, I commend
plenty of
them.
eggs for 4 services.
When he said I think they have 300 volunteers. I mean, most churches would be glad to have 300 members, right?
Yeah.
So to have 300 volunteers, kudos to them for getting people involved and giving them a place to celebrate. And I know all the churches. I think every church will be putting on their Sunday best this Sunday.
Well, in our church, and it didn't sound like yours does this, but we actually have a Maundy Thursday service to sell, and we actually do the traditional Seder meal.
Oh, nice.
As part of that service, it kind of precedes that service,
Yes.
and then we have a Good Friday service, and then we'll have our main service on Sunday.
Yeah, when you talk, people have a problem with organized religion. Well, we're kind of disorganized religion over my church, so we don't have that part. But I do enjoy. I've spoken at like Good Friday services where they do those 7 last words of Jesus, and you have 7 different preachers, and each one preaches a mini sermon on. And most folks are probably like, "Do you really going to have 7 sermons?" But it tends to go well. Those are special. The Maundy Thursday. I'm thrilled to hear that you do the Seder. I think that's such an important tradition that I wish we hadn't let go of.
Yep. No, I agree. I think it's one of the more meaningful times of year for all of us, but I do especially appreciate the Maundy Thursday and the Good Friday services. Well, let's try and go to the phones. Good morning. You're on Talkback.
Hello?
Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning. You were speaking about taxes, state taxes earlier. I was just a FYI, I received my Optimum bill this last month, about 10 days ago, I guess, and it went up like $20-some-odd.
Oh,
Got
really?
to looking into it. The state passed a 10% tax beginning of the year, and I got to looking into it, and I mean, I was just shocked that they could have tacked on a 10% tax on cable, streaming, any kind of those services.
Yes, that was part of the package they passed in the special session where they extended the sales tax to all digital streams. You are correct. Yes, I've heard from people.
But it's a 10% tax. I mean, state tax is normally about 5.5. I don't know what the difference came in, but they really screwed us. I can tell you that.
It's your local taxes, so it's state and local tax. And so, but the effective rate in most parishes and communities is going to be 10% or just a hair over.
Okay, but there's a 10% tax from the state on top of everything. Now, I don't know if it's part of the 5.5, but it's 10%. I looked it up, and that they added on streaming and television services or whatever, cable services. I just thought that was another one of those things they're doing that we have no control over. But anyway, thank you for listening.
Oh no, thank you. Thanks for calling in. No, he may be right. I'll go back and look and see what the actual tax is on digital. I thought it was still local and state, but it could be a full 10% of state tax. I'll have to try to look that up on a break really quick and verify if that's all state or if that's a blend of state and local. But nonetheless, it gets back to what they're expecting to hear from the revenue estimating conference in May, that they think it's like the increase in sales tax has been lucrative.
Right. And so does that then negate some of the the other innovations or initiatives is the word I'm looking for, that they're trying to do on funding mechanisms? Because what happens if they get more money than they were supposed to? Do they give any of it back?
No. No. And they're hoping to collapse, several funds and have that for general fund money going forward. Now, what you hear a little bit is they feel like they'll be okay this year. It's next year they're worried. And that's probably because next year you'll see more of the full effect of the flat tax. So you could see, and the reduction in corporate taxes. So you could see some overall reductions next year potentially.
Yeah.
But we need somebody on here who is much more attuned to the nuances of state fiscal policy and revenue streams than I am. I have a very cursory knowledge of the various parts and pieces.
And I texted someone about Pineville's request. They're going back for the. They actually have scaled down the courthouse and police department, new justice center and our judicial center, justice center, and so that's why they have gone back for that. And then they did have a street request for this capital outlay request. So that's coming from Chief Basco.
Excellent. Well, let's take our next break, and we'll be back right after this.
KSYL.
All of us have that one friend who can just light up the room with a smile. And sadly, how many of us are just a little bit envious of that friend? Well, here's the good news. The folks over at Today's Dental in Pineville can deliver that beautiful beaming smile. Over the years, hundreds of hopeful patients have visited and been completely satisfied. They've made getting dental implants an amazingly simple, low-anxiety procedure, one that's affordable for anyone's budget. The staff at Today's Dental go out of their way to make you feel comfortable with calming in-office IV sedation that's administered by a highly skilled, certified nurse anesthetist. And their multiple finance options make the entire procedure truly affordable. Isn't it your turn to light up that room? Give Today's Dental a call at 448-4540. It's a general dental facility on Highway 28 East in Pineville, owned by Dr. Jonas Gauthier. That's 448-4540.
Attention all real estate agents, property owners, and lenders. When you or a client needs a real estate attorney, call the professionals at Thompson Law Firm. Whether the legal matter is basic or complex, the Thompson Law Firm can accurately guide you or your client to a successful outcome. That's why numerous industry professionals have trusted the Thompson Law Firm for years. They also handle estate planning, successions, and business law. Call them at 473-0052. I am a paid non-client attorney spokesperson.
Prepare yourself, Louisiana. Mega Millions just got mega huge. Booyah! The new $5 Mega Millions has increased the starting jackpot to a whopping $50 million. That's right, $50 million. This means bigger wins, higher jackpots, better top prize odds, multiplied wins up to 10 times. Play big, win bigger with Mega Millions from the lottery. Don't miss your chance to race for the millions.
Finalists, are you ready?
The NASCAR Powerball Playoff is back. Enter now to win a VIP trip to the NASCAR Cup Series Championship race at the Phoenix Raceway, where you could take home $1 million.
The winner is contestant number 2.
The race for the million is on.
It's been amazing.
Visit LouisianaLottery.com for more details. Must be at least 21 to purchase.
In Sinlaw, keeping your lawn looking great can be a real challenge. And that's why folks have been choosing our locally owned and operated company, Promo Fencing and Lawn Care. Promo can also be your local choice for fence installation and new landscape installs. They're real pros about it too, offering free estimates and financing for those bigger jobs, residential or commercial. Bring your vision to life with Promo Fencing and Lawn Care. Call 318-452-6265.
Do you want to take a vacation every day? Do you want to know where your children are this coming summer? Then call A1 Pools now and have a swimming pool installed in your yard. A1 Pools can build your pool and have you swimming with your family before summer starts. Make a splash. Call A1 Pools now and get a free quote. Call 318-449-2093 and financing is available. Call A1 Pools now. 318-449-2093.
Now back to Talkback, 970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO.
And we're back. Sandra McQueen, Nathan Martin, welcome to Talkback on I guess it's still a terrific Tuesday, even though it's tax day. And I did look up during the break. Our caller was exactly correct that the tax on all the streaming and cable services is a 10% state tax.
Wow.
That was my wrong assumption that it was the 5.5 state plus local. It is actually a 10% state tax. So our caller was right.
That's going to generate some serious money.
Yeah.
I mean, 10% of telecommunications or digital services. I wonder if that's going to go over to things like Netflix and...
It is. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because YouTube TV had a price increase January 1, and between that and the tax, I think it went up well over $20 a month. It was awful. So, all right, let's go to the phones. Good morning. You're on Talkback.
Hey, thank you for taking my call. I was actually wanting to make a comment about the Easter talk y'all were going through. You know, I guess it's because I'm getting older. But the atheists, I participate on about 5 different debate sites on Facebook, and the atheists just seem so childish to me. If you know anything about history, you see the arc and the plan and the things that God has done. And, you know, we're about to celebrate a man who said he was God and proved it by getting up out of that tomb. Now, you know, they say, oh, did you see him? No, I didn't see him. I don't see a lot of things y'all talk about I don't see. But I know they go on in Baton Rouge because I get impacted by them. And when you see the things that have happened through history, the birth of our country. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and this guy was talking about how at the Military War College, they game sometimes our revolution. And almost never, like 99 times out of 100, the British win. You know? And this is a military war college. They account for factors that you and I never know of and never even think about. And it's just, you know, on there, on the Facebook pages, they will criticize people for not acting in a certain way. And I said, well, the way you're expecting people to act, you know, that's what Christ tells us to. That's how he tells us how to act. Are you a Christian? No! You know, but that's the standard of measure they hold to good, to what they define as good. You know, it's amazing. And so, you know, I'm glad y'all started talking about it for Easter. I don't like to call it our Super Bowl, but this is the main thing. And I'm going to butcher it, but C.S. Lewis had a great quote about Christ that, you know, he was a deeper thinker than I am. And but he said that, you know, what the claim that Christ made, you know, some people try to say he's just a teacher. He was a good man. He was a good man. He was a good teacher. So yes, Lewis said no. He's either what he said he was, or he's a raving lunatic. There's no two ways about it. And he said it more eloquently, but it's true. And then the evidence. That's what they always hate it when I say there's just too much evidence. There's not enough evidence for me to be an atheist. I see too many things happening. From the conquering of the Roman Empire to, you know, all the way up to today. So anyways, I love talking about that stuff, and I enjoy listening to y'all. But there is a background noise in y'all's microphones. My wife heard it yesterday. I couldn't hear it yesterday, but she could hear it, and now I hear it now. So I hope Dave can fix that out. I know it's got to be something else.
Dave, when you hear it on the phone talking to us, do you hear it as well?
No. Now that you mention it, no, I don't.
Okay.
I heard it listening.
Trying to have Dave kind of, you know, I've already sent an email.
Yeah,
do some, exactly. Well, thank you, man. Appreciate you calling.
All right, thanks. Yeah, thanks for letting me speak with you. Have a great day.
Absolutely. Well, let's go to another caller. Good morning. You're on Talkback.
You know, I've never seen an alien, but I do think that somewhere in the universe they exist.
It could be.
And another thing too, you know how the politicians are always talking about these oligarchies running the government and stuff?
Yes.
Would you rather have an oligarchy running the government or the Democrats?
That may be the question of the day, huh?
Great question.
Oh my gosh, that's a great question.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Perfect. I love him. Short, sweet, to the point. Oh my gosh, that's a good question.
Oh man.
I suspect at least right now a good 55% of our country would go oligarchy.
Today, probably so, but we'll see how long that lasts. You know, I think we better go to break. I'm gonna get myself in trouble.
All right, we'll go to a break, and then I'll let Nathan get in trouble when we get back.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics with 27 providers and 3 locations. Someone can see you today. Stick around. More of Talkback is on the way.
Get ready, Alexandria. It's time to spring into River Pet with the 2025 Downtown Rocks Free Concert Series. This Thursday from 5 to 8 p.m., the steps of City Hall come alive with music, fun, and community vibes. Bring your lawn chairs, your crew, and your best dance moves because downtown Alexandria is the place to be. Rain or shine, it's happening. April 3rd, 10th, and 17th. Presented by the City of Alexandria, where music meets community.
Got a big day ahead of you? Then it's best to fuel up with some of Cenla's best at Bricato's restaurant. Walk right in and just smell that home-style cooking. Place your order, take a seat, and do breakfast right till 9:30 this morning. Get fresh biscuits, eggs any way you like them, melt-in-your-mouth pancakes, grits, hash browns, sausage, bacon, even wraps and sandwiches. And don't forget their fresh brewed coffee. Mercado's Restaurant, 28 West, right across from the Coliseum. Your breakfast is waiting for you.
Hi, everyone. From America's #1 travel radio show, I'm Mary Carey, and this is your RM World Travel Minute. On this tax day, I figured it was a good day to remind everyone that since life can be full of deadlines, there's a pretty big travel deadline coming May 7th to an airport near you. Beginning Monday, May 7th, all domestic airline passengers will need a real ID to get through TSA and onto a flight. Real ID is a new federal requirement for state-issued driver's license and non-driver IDs, and it's going to help prevent fraudulent identification. If you don't think your driver's license is Real ID compliant, you can still fly, but you're going to need a valid passport. How do you know if your state license is compliant? You're going to see a star or a flag in the top right corner, or it's going to say enhanced, depending on your state, of course. Real IDs can only be obtained through your local DMV, and you must show up in person to apply. There's a really helpful website with individual state info that you may want to take a look at. Check out dhs.gov/Real ID. And again, May 7th is the day you're going to need a Real ID to fly domestically. You can always find more travel info at rmworldtravel.com. Happy travels.
There's no place like Sinlaw.
Wednesday evening, April 16th, the Arts Council of Central Louisiana presents Cirque Mechanics Pedal Punk at Coughlin Saunders. Pedal Punk is a steampunk-inspired acrobatic experience of excitement, artistry, and thrills. Get your tickets today.
Lace up your running shoes, grab your strollers and wagons, and join us for the Lauren Vaughn Memorial 5K Run Walk on Saturday, April the 19th. All proceeds benefit the Lauren Vaughn Memorial Scholarship at NSU. Get the details at lv5k.com.
Saturday, April 26th is Earth Day at the Alexandria Zoo. Let's team up to protect our planet. Enjoy keeper chats, activities, crafts, and demonstrations. Get the details at thealexandriazoo.com.
Have an outstanding day on Bulow Lake, Saturday, May 3rd, as the Alexandria Museum of Art's Louisiana Dragon Boat Races return. Catch all the action, support a great cause, and bring the whole family. Admission is free.
Sinlaw Broadcasting, promoting true hometown pride.
Now back to Talk Back, 970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO.
All right, we're back. So, Dave Degerpont made a great point about the C.S. Lewis quote.
Mm-hmm.
So I pulled that up just so I could read it in its entirety. So it's C.S. Lewis, they said, famously argued in Mere Christianity that one must choose between three possibilities regarding Jesus. He was either the Son of God, a lunatic, or a liar.
Mm-hmm.
Lewis contends that a person cannot accept Jesus as a great moral teacher without acknowledging his claim to be God. If Jesus was not God, then his teachings would either be the product of madness or malicious intent.
So Josh McDowell famously paraphrased that quote in his book, Evidence That Demands a Verdict, and he said he's either Lord, liar, or lunatic.
Yes, correct. And so that's called the trilemma, and they call it Lewis's Lord, liar, or lunatic argument.
And very good. So that has carried on. Other spokespersons and apologists have made that very, very. I mean, C.S. Lewis said it perfectly. So you have a choice. You can't just be a good moral person if you claim to be God. So you're either crazy, or you're just flat out lying, or it's true. So that's very well said, Dave. Thanks for reminding us of that.
Yeah, I think that was great for this Easter week. And I went to a Christian college, and there's just certain moments in classes that you may not remember a lot, but certain lectures or moments kind of stick with you. And I had a history professor that sort of framed up the class. It was American history, but it had been world history. But he talked about history, and he went onto the board and he wrote history in all caps, and he drew a line between the S and the T, and he said that history is his story. And he talked about that really history is more about, the story of God who creates his people fall away from him, and then it's about the story of redemption, and that history is really the full circle, and that all these events are part and parcel. But that always stuck with me as a great way to remember the story of history. As Dave was saying, there are a lot of things that align in the impossible. I mean, in the American Revolutionary War is another one. I mean,
absolutely.
When you go and if you ever read a lot about American, just like the smallpox epidemic nearly took out Washington's army, and you just all the things that had to come together for the U.S. to win.
No, there's no doubt.
Pretty amazing.
You definitely see the hand of Providence in that and in that American Revolution. But you go back to the history issue. I love how you said that. It's just the very fact that we're in the year 2025. Sometimes I want to say to people, is 2025 from when? I mean, what? I know it doesn't count to Easter, but it's certainly the Common Era, as it's called. Well, what made it the Common Era? What was so significant about it that we would restart the dating of our calendars? There was someone who had an impact on the world, and he changed everything, including our calendars. Very well said. History, his story. Yeah. You think about Providence is such an interesting topic to look at when you step back, and even I think it's really good and important, even in local politics, for me personally, to step back and say God is in control, even though it looks chaotic. And I'm hearing that word chaos. You yesterday said chaos was the word of the weekend for the radio shows, right?
Yep.
Even when it seems chaotic, I have to step back and believe in the sovereignty of God over the affairs of men, and trust Him with that. And hopefully, I don't mess up. But I can't mess up God's plans. I can mess up me, and I'm doing my best not to do that. So I've stopped myself from saying stuff 2 times today.
Wow, it's a miracle.
Yeah.
It's an Easter week miracle, folks. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, you got to love it. Absolutely.
Nathan is beat red, Joe.
I
It's
love
hilarious.
this. This is true. And those on Facebook can see me because he's accurate.
Oh, my gosh. That is too funny. Well, one other thing I neglected to mention, besides our conversation with Tyler Bridges this morning at 8:40, we are expecting U.S. Senator John Kennedy to join us. So very
I
interested.
listened to y'all yesterday. Yeah, it was like Al played the clip leading up to him, and then he gets a text live on the air. Sorry, he can't be here, and he rescheduled live on radio. You guys were amazing.
So, I said we'd take him today, but really want to kind of continue. He's been pretty vocal on the tariffs, and he just has a knowledge of sort of higher finance and the bond market. So I do want to try to get him to break down what he thinks the strategy is with the tariffs a little bit, as well as what he thinks is going to come out of all the budget reconciliation. And there's a lot of conversations about potential cuts to the Medicaid program, which will hurt Louisiana as much as any other state in this country because we have such a disproportionate number of our population that rely on Medicaid. And, we can all throw a lot of shade at the Medicaid program and our concerns about fraud and overreach, but we also have to realize, and Nathan, I know you know this from your work with Rapides, our hospitals depend on those Medicaid dollars to keep their doors open because we eliminated our charity care hospitals in Louisiana during the Jindal administration, and without some Medicaid funding, I don't think our hospitals here locally can make it.
Well, they're not profit centers, but they are the kinds of things that just cover your bases, and they keep your doors open so that you can have profit. And there's losses in there as well. I mean, they're barely breaking even. And you can't just break even in the business because you'll go under at the first little wave. So, but yes, they are important to keep the wheels turning, I should say. And then when you need that extra care that you need, it's available because of that bread and butter operation there that Medicaid brings. So you're right.
No doubt about it. Well, that is the music. Hour 1 is in the books. And when we come back at the top of the hour, we should be joined by Tyler Bridges, political reporter for The Advocate.
You've been listening to Talkback. The opinions expressed were those of the hosts and callers, and not necessarily those of Cenlaw Broadcasting.
FM 104.9, AM 970, KSYL, and KRRV 100.3 HD3, Alexandria. It's 8 o'clock. This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. We could learn more today about the fate of a Maryland man the White House admits was mistakenly deported to prison in his native El Salvador. The Supreme Court says he must be brought back. But Attorney General Pam Bondi says
he was illegally in our country. He had been illegally in our country. If they wanted to return him, we would facilitate it, meaning provide a plane.
El Salvador's president says he will not send Kilmar Abrego Garcia back. Legal contributor Jessica Levinson.
We're really inching towards the showdown we keep talking about with respect to judicial orders and executive actions and whether or not they dance around, slow walk, somewhat comply, or if they're just outright defiance of these orders.
There's a court hearing scheduled in Maryland today. The man accused of setting the Pennsylvania governor's mansion on fire rolled his eyes and stuck his tongue out at reporters after he was arraigned on charges of arson, attempted murder, and terrorism. CBS's Chanel Call.
Balmer told the judge he's been living here in Harrisburg with his parents for the last year, adding that he does not suffer mental health issues. He called that a rumor. He was also denied bail and did not enter a plea.
Governor Shapiro, his family and friends all escaped unharmed. Jury selection begins in New York today for Harvey Weinstein's Me Too retrial and alleged sex crimes. Legal analyst Thane Rosenbaum.
The verdict of the last trial was overturned by an appeals court because the judge allowed evidence related to other women who were not part of that first proceeding.
Lawmakers in North Dakota have approved a bill to keep sexually explicit books away from young readers.
Under the bill, school and public libraries would have to move any obscene content to an area kids can't access. People who think certain material is obscene would file a complaint to a county state's attorney who would decide if that material should be restricted. Schools and libraries that don't comply could lose their state funding. The ACLU of North Dakota says the bill, which now awaits the governor's signature, amounts to censorship. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
A nonprofit environmental group is out with its annual list of most endangered rivers. At the top, the mighty Mississippi. The organization's Taylor Measley says there are steps that can be taken to turn things around.
So on the Mississippi River, they're talking about FEMA. And how do we not just respond to disasters, but get communities ready for disasters prior? How do we let the river have the space to flood?
Number 2 on the list, the Tijuana River. The group says it is threatened by out-of-control sewage and chemical pollution. U.S. futures all down ahead of the opening bell. This is CBS News.
A riddle brought to you by Progressive Insurance. What do your home and auto have in common? Progressive protects them both. It was an easy riddle. Learn more at Progressive.com. Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou, term provider, 800-230-2777. Big Lou is intimately familiar with problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-230-2777. That's 800-230-2777 for $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-230-2777. 800-230-2777.
Louisiana Radio Network, I'm Jeff Palermo. Governor Landry kicked off the 2025 legislative session by presenting his plan to lawmakers on how to reduce auto insurance rates. Key proposals of the governor's auto insurance reform package include restricting attorney advertising, bringing medical transparency to the collateral source rule, and making lawyers and their clients prove their injuries were the result of a car accident.
I say we commit ourselves to working to find a balanced approach, something that has never been tried, one that holds both sides accountable and is fair to the genuinely injured victims.
But well-known personal injury attorney Morris Bard says accident victims will be the losers if the governor's plan is approved.
I predict lawyers are still going to be advertising, insurance companies are still going to be charging the same premium as before, but the people of Louisiana will have just given up some of their rights.
LRN.
Starting a business can be overwhelming, especially when you do it alone. Don't do it alone. Take control of your future with a Janney King Gulf Coast franchise. With Janney King, you get guaranteed initial growth, reliable operational support, and ongoing education to set you up for success. Jenny King has built a proven system that gives you the tools to take control of your future confidently and with the support you need to thrive. The future is yours today at JennyKingCleans.com.
Jenny King, the king of clean.
Well, good morning. We're starting out with a few clouds this morning, sort of like what we saw yesterday. But by about noontime, the sun will take over. We'll see the afternoon highs under sunny skies near 76. Tonight, clear skies down to 48 for the overnight low. Heard me right. And then for Wednesday, another nice day, but warmer with the afternoon high temperatures climbing up to 81 degrees. More sunshine on Thursday with highs 84. And there's your forecast from the Cenla Broadcasting Weather Center. I'm Dave Gratian. Currently 65 degrees in Cenla.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics. With 27 providers and 3 locations, someone can see you today.
It's Talkback, Central Louisiana's longest-running talk show. Whether it's the guests or the callers, Talkback is where Central Louisiana begins its conversation.
Good morning and welcome back to Hour 2 of Talkback. Sandra McQueen, Nathan Martin, and I believe joining us on the phone is Tyler Bridges. Tyler, is that you?
Good morning.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for joining us. So for those in our audience that may not be familiar with Tyler Bridges, Tyler is a political reporter for The Advocate who has had quite a storied journalistic career, including being the author of several books, including Bad Bet on the Bayou, The Rise of Gambling in Louisiana, and the Fall of Governor Edwin Edwards, Long Shot, which is the story of John Bell Edwards' unlikely rise to governor, The Flight, Father's War, A Son's Search, and 5 Laterals and a Trombone, and it's the Stanford football wild ending story because Tyler is a graduate of Stanford. So Tyler, good morning and welcome.
Good to be back on the show.
Absolutely. And people can find out more on tylerbridges.com if they'd like to take a look at the books and learn more about your very impressive history. So thank you for taking time to be with us this morning. You're kind of our de facto eyes and ears in Baton Rouge, if you will. So I know you attended the governor's speech yesterday and would love to kind of get your reaction, your sense. I've read your articles this morning, but sort of describe for the audience kind of the atmosphere yesterday and your perceptions of the speech and where the session's going.
Yeah, so yesterday was the opening day of the regular legislative session, and it always begins with a speech by the governor. So the session yesterday convened at noon, and then just after 1 o'clock, the governor began speaking. And last year, he spoke for about 20 minutes. Yesterday, he spoke for, I counted up to 63 minutes, a very long speech. He touched on the changes that he and legislators last year made on property insurance, anti-crime legislation, the adoption of education savings accounts, which are vouchers for private schools. And then he devoted basically the last 20 minutes to what I think is going to be the biggest issue this year, which is the effort to change Louisiana's car insurance laws. The evidence is that Louisiana has the highest car insurance rates in the country, as your listeners probably realize. And so the story that I wrote that's online in The Advocate today was my report on yesterday in the governor's speech.
Absolutely. So in the room, I think it was in your article, and you had written an article, I think, about a week and a half ago that sort of the honeymoon may be over for Governor Landry, which is not unusual. That happens for most politicians at some point in their tenure. But the mood in the legislature, do you feel like that, they're kind of all marching in the same direction with insurance? Because it seems from what we read and hear that maybe the governor and Commissioner Temple or kind of have two different paths they want to take. But what was your overall impression of sort of the mood and the direction that everyone wants to go in?
Yeah, certainly, Sandra. A year ago, when the regular legislative session began, the governor was at the peak of his power, And he had just come off 2 special sessions where he'd gotten most of it he wanted. And in the regular session, he continued to have a powerful hand. But things have changed for the governor. And on Sunday in The Advocate, I had a long story about how his political honeymoon is over. You'll remember on March 29th, he had 4 amendments on the ballot that he wanted voters to approve, particularly Amendment 2 dealing with taxes and Amendment 3 dealing with juvenile crime. And voters defeated all 4 of them resoundingly. And that was Governor Landry's first political defeat. And not only that, he's facing on this car insurance issue, I would call it something of a rebellion from a group of 15 House freshmen who are working with Speaker Pro Tem Mike Johnson of Pineville and the House Insurance Committee Chair Gabe Furman from Pollock. And they are siding with the insurance companies and the business interests, saying, hey, the laws are too permissive in Louisiana for trial lawyers. The laws are allowing too many frivolous lawsuits, big payouts that are not merited. So we need to clamp down on those laws. And Governor Landry agrees with at least some of that. And yesterday, as he had done last week, he said he favors a balanced approach, a middle approach. Well, these conservatives don't think Louisiana needs a balanced approach. They and Commissioner Tim Temple believe that, again, the laws are too permissive for trial lawyers. So Governor Landry has something of an alliance with the trial lawyers. I reported in 2023 during the governor's race that he was taking big campaign contributions from them. I reported last week that he had a kind of a secret meeting in Texas with trial lawyer Gordon McKernan and some other prominent trial lawyers, and McKernan flew on his private jet, the legislative leaders, to Texas to meet with the governor. And that's raised concerns among the business-oriented conservatives. So when the governor entered the House chamber yesterday, the applause was not strong like it had been a year ago. And so Governor Landry is a very, very crafty, smart politician. He was elected governor of Louisiana after all, right? But he's got a bigger challenge on his hands this year than last year.
Tyler, this is Nathan. I wanted to ask you, what do you make of the supposed rift between the Commissioner of Insurance, Teeple, and Governor Landry? Is that just a tempest in a teapot, or is there something deeper going on?
Nathan, I think it's something deeper going on. I did get a chance to talk to Commissioner Temple yesterday, and he's told me that he and the governor are not on the same page. Governor Temple favors changes to laws that are more in line with what the insurance industry, and what business interests want. And again, Governor Landry favors some of that, but also, again, thinks Governor Landry also puts blame on the insurance companies for the high insurance car rates. So, again, this is a story that's going to be playing out for the next 2 months during the legislative session.
So the House looks like they're going to move fairly quickly on their package of bills. They have hearings scheduled, today and tomorrow in 2 of their key committees, including the Insurance Committee. What is the chance? I mean, obviously they'll probably get through the House potentially this week, maybe. What are the chances those bills will get through the Senate?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So I think that the legislative leadership in the House, their plan is to have the Civil Law and Procedure Committee beginning at 9 this morning, beginning to take up one batch of bills that are sponsored by freshman Republicans that are aligned with what the insurance industry wants, and then tomorrow the House Insurance Committee, and then if those bills are approved, then the full House would take them up next week. But the bigger challenge probably will be in the Senate, where trial lawyers seem to have friendlier members there. So, as you said, I think it's going to be a fascinating political story this year. Trial lawyers on one side, insurance industry on the other. They go at it often. Sometimes it heats up more so than other years. This is one of those years where it's really going to be a hot political issue. And again, Governor Landry says he's steering a middle course between the two, doesn't favor one over the other. Those who are blaming the trial lawyers for the high car insurance rates think that the governor is not going far enough in their direction.
Well, and I think another interesting, just as a political observer, piece of this story is how the Democrats seem to be aligning with Landry on a number of the insurance bills. And we had Senator Luno in the show last week, and I was sort of surprised he's carrying several of the governor's pieces of legislation on this insurance issue.
Yeah, and Senator Luno is probably the foremost trial lawyer advocate. He's a trial lawyer himself, foremost advocate in the legislature, very, very smart legislator and an attorney. So it is interesting how, again, with Governor Landry's quote-unquote balanced approach, he's going to definitely be allying with Democrats on some issues, and that's causing consternation among his political base on the right.
Governor Landry made the comment that what's worse than one boy crying wolf is two boys crying wolf, and the idea that both the trial lawyers and the insurance companies are saying the sky is falling. He's trying to find that middle ground, but he has, it seems like with his veto last year of the collateral source law that passed, has leaned more towards the trial lawyers. Is that the perspective, or is that just a misunderstanding of what's going on?
Well, certainly that is the perception of the business interests and the insurance companies, that the governor is not allied with them like they'd like him to be. This year he says he does support a bill that this year they're calling it a medical transparency. It's going to be taken up today. That bill, it's by Representative Glorioso. It would allow the defense to in a trial to hire an expert witness and bring that and challenge the medical bill for the injured party to say that medical bill is excessive, and that would the opponents or the supporters of the bill believe that will bring down some of the high jury awards or and judge awards for medical costs, and that will bring down some of these big payouts, and then that in turn will lead to lower car insurance rates. Again, the trial lawyers say they don't believe it. They think that insurance companies are making excessive profits in Louisiana.
So I want to move to another subject for a minute here. The budget, where it's been interesting to me with the failure of the amendments, we're still not hearing a lot of angst or concern about the budget. What we hear sort of off mic, if you will, is, the Revenue Estimating Committee is going to come in with good news. Everything will be fine in the end. What are you seeing and hearing on the budget?
Yeah, so remember that Governor Landry and this legislature inherited a big surplus from the outgoing governor and legislature, John Bel Edwards, and that during the previous years there was a lot of money to spend in Baton Rouge, and a lot of the money went for roads and bridges and things like that. Money is now tighter under this governor and legislature, and so teachers, because of the failure of Amendment 2, they're at risk of taking a pay cut. Unless the legislature comes up with $200 million this year, and that's going to be a challenge. At the same time, the governor wants to spend extra money on these education savings accounts, which again are vouchers for private schools. And meanwhile, the legislature and Governor Landry last year approved various measures to lock more people up, including teens, reversing the measures that the legislature had passed under John Bel Edwards. So all that costs more money, and at the same time, the public doesn't want to pay higher taxes. And so money's going to be tight. It's too early to know, Sandra, at this point, how it's going to play out. And as you mentioned, the Revenue Estimating Conference will be meeting in May to see, hey, is there more money available? But it's also possible that with the Trump tariffs that there could be so much uncertainty that businesses are stopping or not investing and consumers are not buying, and that there'll be less money available for the state in the end. So I think the legislature will do its work, but legislators will keep their fingers crossed in May that there'll be more money available, but we just don't know yet.
Yeah, and that's what we've been kind of hearing and seeing, and I think I've still been surprised there's not more focus on that yet, but it sounds like they're going to try to move insurance, get that out of the way first, and then they'll tackle the other big situation, because obviously the issue with the teacher pay raises and continued funding for the LA Gator Education Savings Account program that's going to be an interesting conversation and discussion on the Hill as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Great. Well, why don't we do this? We'll take our first break, and Tyler, if you're good, we'll take you for one more segment.
Okay, great.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics with 27 providers and 3 locations. Someone can see you today. Stick around. More of Talkback is on the way.
The cost of air travel is more than just the ticket price. It's also fuel, meals, lodging, parking, and time. The more we fly AEX, the better our chances of bringing back flights to Houston and Charlotte.
I don't think so. Are we going to talk about
Support AEX and help our community grow. Find your true cost at local.flyaex.org.
Yeah, I did not. I haven't had a chance to see the report, but I heard about it.
Drive a local route every day? If you said yes, then you're who we're looking for. Waste Connections of Alexandria, Natchitoches, and Lafayette is hiring drivers with CDL license. You'll get competitive wages, paid vacations, a company stock program, a 401k with company match, medical, dental, vision, life, and disability insurance, and a local route with you at home with your family every night. Apply now at wasteconnections.com/employment. That's wasteconnections.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group. And I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney. And the truth is, I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney or if I look like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. At Wesley, we've helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshare without me being an attorney. And I want to share with you how we do it. Just give my office a call, and you will not talk to an attorney. And I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare, or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free information kit. 800-714-9090. 800-714-9090. 800-714-9090.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon, you wish would never end. The homemade taste of bluebell, and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
Chocolate lovers are going absolutely bananas over our new Bluebell Banana Fudge. Rich milk chocolate ice cream swirled with a scrumptious banana-flavored ice cream. Your favorite banana fudge bar, now in a carton.
The good old days are being made right now. The good old days are being made right now.
If you'd like to take part in the show today, call the BOM Bank Talk line at 442-8255. That's 442-TALK. And remember, if you're looking to purchase or refinance your home, call Christina Bagwell at the BOM Bank Mortgage Department at 448-2430.
Now back to Talk Back, 970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO.
And we're back. Welcome back to Talk Back. Sandra McCain, Nathan Martin. Joining us on the phone is the Advocate's political reporter, Tyler Bridges, and we're going to take a call. Give me 1 second here.
Yeah, there's a myriad of buttons. She's got to find the conference button to, there we go.
There we go. Caller, you're on the line with Tyler Bridges.
Do you have a turn?
There we go. Sorry, caller, try that again. I'm sorry, we're having crazy mic problems.
That's okay. Thank you for taking my call. Our state has, the people of Louisiana are convinced that our insurance is too high and that our kids need to go elsewhere if they're going to succeed. It sounds like our governor is trying to walk a tightrope to keep the lawyers happy and the people happy. And do you think there's going to come a big enough change, a drastic enough change to the good with the people that we have now, or are we going to need a new group of politicians? Because unless we have a drastic change, I don't think we're going to shuck that image that we can't do business in Louisiana, and to prosper, our kids have to leave. And thank you. I'll hang up and listen to you.
Tyler, any thoughts?
No, your caller was very right on the money for the issue that Louisiana is facing today and really has faced for years. This is the issue that every governor runs on, which is we need to move the state in a different direction. We have too many lists where we're at the bottom when we don't want to be on the bottom, and too many other national lists where we're at the top when we don't want to be on the top. And Jeff Landry was elected in October of 2023 saying, hey, I represent a new day after 8 years of the Democratic Governor John Bel Edwards and a Republican legislature. And now Governor Landry has a 2/3 supermajority in both the House and the Senate. He made a lot of changes last year. He told everyone yesterday that the state is moving in the right direction, that there are big economic development projects online and coming to the state. We don't know yet whether they will. He said that the education scores have improved in Louisiana, which has really happened under Superintendent Brumley and under John Bel Edwards in the previous legislature. But, it's early to know how Jeff Landry is going to be as governor. He certainly has made a number of changes, but, changing the direction of the state is a very difficult affair, and governor after governor and legislator after legislator has tried to do that. But that is your caller hit the issue right on the crux of the issue, which is that people need to find ways to want to be in Louisiana and not move away, and people move into Louisiana because Louisiana has not kept pace with the population growth of other states, particularly other southern states. And so this governor says that he's going to make changes that will make a difference.
Absolutely. Well, we will continue to watch and see what happens in Baton Rouge. As you said, they just kicked off yesterday, and we've got a couple of months to see where things move forward, hopefully, for all of us. I want to change gears just a little bit. You wrote a story in The Advocate last week that is just starting to get some attention here in central Louisiana, and it involves a lawsuit and a settlement with Mayor Rick Allen. And so do you want to kind of tell us a little bit about sort of the article, how that came to be on your radar screen? Because I know The Advocate has written an editorial about this, and we're finally starting to see a little local coverage, but would love to get your take on what this story is all about.
Yeah, so Sandra and Nathan, last year, you may remember, I went up to Pineville and wrote a story about the situation there that hadn't gotten much of local attention, about Mayor Dupree. And I got a hold of the EEOC complaint from a woman who said that she had an affair with the mayor, and she'd also had an affair with his chief of staff, and it wasn't treated properly. So I brought that story to light for The Advocate, and Mayor Dupree ended up resigning. And then more recently, I heard that there was something of a similar story in Leesville. And I don't think I'd ever spent any time in all my years of reporting in Louisiana, actually in Leesville. So I went there, spent a couple days. Mayor Allen had no interest in talking to me, but a city council member named Nicole Wybara did talk to me, and she's been the one blowing the whistle on a lawsuit that was filed against Mayor Allen, a couple other people, and the city back in 2020. And this lawsuit just involves sexual accusations. And there was also a settlement reached with the two women who filed the lawsuit back in 2020. And remarkably enough, nobody in Leesville knew anything about it. So I put together the story, and it's on the Advocate website. The headline is, "After 5 years of secrecy, a lurid lawsuit involving Leesville's mayor comes to light." It's a long story, but I encourage your readers to look at it. It is behind a paywall, We don't work for free at the Advocate. We rely on subscriptions and advertising to be able to do our work. So I would encourage people to, if you don't have a subscription, to subscribe, to be able to read it, because it lays out a pretty amazing story of what's going on in Leesville.
Well, and it's certainly getting some attention. Our local TV station, KALB, which I think had an original story that they eventually pulled from their website early on, did have a follow-up story last night where there were protesters at the city council meeting. And I think, the more interesting part of this story will be Mayor Allen is president of the Louisiana Municipal Association, and knowing that Mayor Dupree was put in a position that even before he resigned as mayor was asked to step down from his leadership position within the organization, is what will happen to Mayor Allen in this case.
Yeah, and how he might respond, I just don't know. Mayor Allen did not want to talk to me before the story came out. I even told him the things I was going to be reporting. I laid it out, and he still did not want to communicate with me, and I'm not aware of what he has said since the article came out. Maybe he did on the KALB report last night, which I haven't had a chance to watch. But it's a really interesting story, and I think it gets back to, just a sort of a basic fundamental thing is we want to elect officials who are going to pay attention and serve as watchdogs of the mayor of the town, or the citizens should be watchdogs. To make sure that their public officials are doing their job properly. We can't just rely on the public officials, right? And everyone sort of seemed to be asleep at the switch, except for this council member, Wybara. So again, I think it's a really interesting story, and I hope people will read what I wrote for the Advocate.
Yes, and I appreciated the editorial. I mean, just the sort of death of the local newspaper. And local news has really allowed these types of incidents to sort of fly under the radar screen. So it's really a sad state of affairs for journalism that we just don't have beat reporters and feet on the street anymore.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the Town Talk is just a shell of what it used to be. The Leesville Daily newspaper is now gone. People want to know what's going on in Baton Rouge and in Washington from a Louisiana perspective. I would encourage people to subscribe to The Advocate. And you can also read about LSU football and basketball and other things. But there is a bit of a news desert in Alexandria. There was a news desert up in Shreveport-Bossier, and the local business community got together with my newspaper, and they've started up. They've helped fund the newspaper to have a bureau up in Shreveport-Bossier that's published digitally, and I've encouraged some people in Alexandria to do the same thing. If the business community wants to step up, I think they could work out something with my newspaper. We could hire some people and cover what's going on in the Alexandria area as well.
Fantastic. Well, again, our guest this morning has been Tyler Bridges. Thank you. I know this is the busy season for you, as it is for our legislature, and we'll look forward to staying in touch with you over the next few months, and appreciate all your insights and for you taking time to update our listeners.
Always good to be on the show. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Have a great day, and we'll be back right after this.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics, with 27 providers and 3 locations. Someone can see you today. Stick around. More of Talkback is on the way.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. President Donald Trump said he is exploring possible temporary exemptions to his tariffs on imported vehicles and parts. The Trump administration is pressing ahead with plans to impose tariffs on semiconductor and pharmaceutical imports by initiating trade probes led by the Commerce Department. Sources tell Bloomberg that China's latest move in the trade war with the U.S. is to order its airlines not to take any future deliveries of Boeing jets. Beijing has also asked that Chinese carriers halt any purchases of aircraft-related equipment and parts from U.S. companies. Lowe's is targeting professional customers with a deal to buy an interior services provider for about $1.3 billion. Artisan Design Group serves home builders and property managers, offering services for interior surface finishes such as cabinets and countertops. Like its bigger rival Home Depot, Lowe's has set its sights on professional customers who typically spend more than do-it-yourself consumers. Gina Cervetti, Bloomberg Radio.
Get ready for high-flying thrills, jaw-dropping tricks, and non-stop excitement. The Arts Council of Central Louisiana presents Pedal Punk. On April 16th, step into a world where bicycles take center stage, performers defy gravity, and creativity knows no bounds. Perfect for all ages, Pedal Punk blends breathtaking acrobatics, cycling stunts, and theatrical fun for an unforgettable night. Don't miss out. Grab your tickets now at louisiana-arts.org or call 484-4474 for more information.
It's springtime in Cenla and time to explore. Feeling adventurous? Go biking or hiking in the National Forest or camping at the many recreation areas that offer canoeing, kayaking, boating, and fishing. Fun for the whole family. Check out the animals at the zoo, on a petting farm, or at a drive-through safari. Love golf? Then hit the links. And for those with a taste for freshness, don't miss our farmers market. Want more ideas? Go to AlexandriaPinevilleLA.com.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to GoodRx.com/GLP. That's GoodRx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed. Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Good morning. We're starting out with a few clouds this morning, sort of like what we saw yesterday. But by about noontime, the sun will take over. We'll see the afternoon highs under sunny skies near 76. Tonight, clear skies down to 48 for the overnight low. You heard me right. And then for Wednesday, another nice day, but warmer with the afternoon high temperatures climbing up to 81 degrees. More sunshine on Thursday with highs 84. And that's your forecast from the Cenla Broadcasting Weather Center. I'm Dave Gratian. Currently 67 degrees in Cenla.
970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO. To take part in the show, call 442-8255. That's 442-TALK.
All right, are we back?
Yeah, we're back. I was just...
Are we back?
We are.
Okay.
I'm hearing the... Are you not hearing anything?
No sound.
Oh,
okay.
no, your headphones
Keep talking, Nathan.
I'll keep
Sing,
talking
dance.
Well, welcome back to Talk Back. We're about 3 minutes away from a call from Senator John Kennedy, who will be...
For. Okay, keep going, Nathan.
Senator's really going to need some help on this one because when Senator Kennedy calls in, the only way we'll hear him is on headphones. That jack has not worked in the last week or so, so you may have to try the third or the fourth set of headphones on that end. I'm going to keep on talking. Thank you very much. If you could, well, you can see on Facebook app, and I've been told that the app is down. The website is up, though, so you can hear us on kswell.com, but you can't hear us on the app. I am hoping that the playback will be available later today. And, of course, you can come back on Facebook here and listen to it as well. It'll be archived for 30 days because Facebook now deletes live videos after 30 days. So they're only there for 30 days. But it's on the app for 1 week. So you got a little bit longer time on Facebook to go back and listen to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome
oh, my
back,
gosh.
Denver.
I need a day off. This is insane. Okay. Well, the phones, you guys heard us talking to Tyler for a minute. It's crazy. So why don't we do this? Let's go ahead and take our next break. I'm hoping that the flashing line, one of those is Senator Kennedy, and we'll have him on right after this.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics with 27 providers and 3 locations. Someone can see you today. Stick around. More of Talkback is on the way.
Hope can strengthen. Hope can encourage. Hope can empower. Together we can educate, encourage, empower. Be
the change.
Change a child's tomorrow and volunteer as a CASA today. There are over 500 children in foster care in Central Louisiana, and our goal is to provide advocacy and support for every one of them. We need you to be the change for children in foster care and help change despair into hope. Volunteer trainings are going on now throughout Central Louisiana and will continue throughout the year. Find out more and apply today at children'sadvocacy.net or call 318-445-5678. Don't wait to choose to be the safe adult and constant support in a child's life. Start making a difference today at children'sadvocacy.net or call 318-445-5678.
In Central Louisiana, when you're talking great food, you're talking Southern Creations Country Lunch Buffet. At the base of the Jackson Street Bridge in Pineville, this Best of the Best award-winning lunch buffet is remarkable, featuring their signature fried chicken every day, an awesome variety of menu choices, and homemade desserts, including the now famous white chocolate bread pudding. No one does lunch better. Come have lunch with a friend or a group at Southern Creations. Daily menus posted on Facebook.
Teens are using social media to buy what they think are prescription pills, like Oxy, Xanax, or Adderall. But these pills are actually made with a cheaper, stronger, and more deadly synthetic called fentanyl. You cannot see it, smell it, or taste it. Naloxone and fentanyl testing strips are available for free through many community service organizations to help prevent opioid overdose. Carry naloxone and know the signs of an overdose. If you or a loved one needs help, go to opioidhelpla.org. Brought to you by the Louisiana Department of Health.
Hi, it's Tori DeVito. In every family, small conversations can make a big impact. Like when my dad shared his experiences as an alcoholic. Your honesty about that part of your life gave me a sense of integrity that I wanted to uphold in my own life.
I wanted you to know from someone who's been in recovery more than 30 years now that hard work is what creates success, not alcohol or other drugs. I said it a lot, and I'm glad you took it to heart.
Talk. They hear you. For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Do you want to take a vacation every day? Do you want to know where your children are this coming summer? Then call A1 Pools now and have a swimming pool installed in your yard. A1 Pools can build your pool and have you swimming with your family before summer starts. Make a splash. Call A1 Pools now and get a free quote. Call 318-449-2093 and financing is available. Call A1 Pools now. 318-449-2093.
970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO. Now back to Talk Back.
And welcome back. Sandra McQueen, Nathan Martin, and joining us on the phone is U.S. Senator John Kennedy. Good morning, Senator.
Good morning, Sandra. Good morning, Nathan.
Very glad. Thank you for taking time. I know that you're on, the Senate is on Easter recess, and you're back home in the great state of Louisiana, and we certainly appreciate your time. Wanted to dive into tariffs. That is a big topic of conversation with our listeners. I was actually at an infrastructure conference last week. Tariffs were all the conversation. So where are we? Where are we going? Sort of what's your thoughts on what's next? Because as I shared with Nathan and Al this week, you know, when you watch the Sunday talk shows, chaos was the word of the day. I'm not sure that's where we are, but would love to get your take on things.
Well, good question. I'll give you a couple of thoughts. There is some uncertainty about the president's plan with respect to tariffs. I happen to think that, I don't know, but I happen to think that is intentional, because the president is in the process of negotiating these tariffs, and you don't want to ever announce your negotiating strategy. I guess point two would be that I support the president's efforts on reciprocal tariffs. There's no question that other countries have used trade barriers as a weapon to hurt the American economy and to steal our jobs. I think number three, and this seems to me to be self-evident, we've got, I think we're up to 140 countries that want to renegotiate with America to lower their trade tariffs. They're at the negotiating table. They would not be there but for President Trump's decision to raise American tariffs. The president decided to be a bear on this, and you know the way he rolls. If you're going to be a bear, be a grizzly, and he's been a grizzly. I think we'll know fairly soon, over the next 3 to 6 months, what direction we're headed. The way I hope it turns out, look, I hope that everybody lowers their tariffs. When a government imposes a tariff, it really is a way of government putting its thumb on the scale, and it affects the free exchange of goods and services. I'm a big believer in letting American companies and foreign companies compete at the best price and the best product win. And I think that's where President Trump is headed. But it's any kind of remodeling is messy, and we're in the process of remodeling. I guess the last point I'll make: the president has been criticized for moving forward and then moving backward. Look, this designing a system of global trade is more art than science. There's no tariff fairy you can go talk to tell you how to do this stuff. And so you're going to have some adjustments and readjustments, flexibility as the president calls it. And I think that's frankly fairly normal.
Senator, I had a listener just message me just now asking me, and here's his words. It says, ask Senator Kennedy what kind of feedback he's had on his AOC comment, and please repeat it for those who missed it. And I laughed because we actually talked about that as we were bringing you on. So can you address our listener's question?
Sure. Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, in my judgment, has become the leader of the Democratic Party. She is often wrong, but never in doubt. That is her right. She has the right to her opinion. I have the right to mine. And I think that she's woefully wrong. And I made the comment that she's the reason that there are directions on a shampoo bottle. And I think most fair-minded Americans see it that way. And then I was asked, what's our plan for addressing the points she's making? And I said, our plan is Operation Let Her Speak. I think she's making our points for us. The Congresswoman is a neo-socialist. She thinks we ought to tear America out by the roots and start over. And I disagree with her.
There have been reports that she may run for senator in New York. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, I saw a poll week before last, Nathan, that had her up about 15 points over the incumbent Senator Chuck Schumer. If that's accurate, and I think it probably is, I think it's interesting. But it's early days yet. There's some speculation that she's going to run for president. I think it's less likely because I don't think she can bear the scrutiny. But we'll see. It's America. You can do what you want.
There you go. Well, let's talk about the budget. And can you kind of explain to us where everything is right now? That we know the Senate and the House have passed resolutions, and now which kind of, I think, as I appreciate it, have set the framework for the committees, and they will be passing budgets more along the use of maybe a continuing resolution. But can you explain to us how the budget process is working right now and what you think some of the sort of outcomes will be? I know that there's the conversations about making the president's tax cuts permanent, fears about Medicaid cuts. So can you kind of just set the table for us on what we're seeing and hearing?
Yeah, let me give you the big picture. I think when moms and dads in America lie down to sleep at night and can't, one of the things they're most worried about is high prices, which resulted from President Biden's administration. We have a plan, and that's what we're working on. That's what all this budget talk is, to lower those prices. Number one, we want to reduce spending by the federal government. The inflation was caused because the federal government spent so much money. We want to reduce that spending to reduce that stimulus on the high prices. The second reason that prices went up is because President Biden implemented so many rules and regulations on goods and services that raised the cost of goods and services. So we want to reduce the red tape to lower the cost. And number three, which you alluded to, we need to redesign the tax code so that it will encourage investment in the private sector. It'll encourage businesses, mostly small businesses, frankly, to grow, and wages will increase so people will be able to deal better with these higher prices. And that when you hear the talking heads on TV talk about reconciliation, that's what we're talking about. We're trying to pass a bill. It's got to pass the House and the Senate. We're not going to get Democratic support. That's what we're going to be focused on for the next, 3 months probably. Tariffs are important, but getting these prices down is important too.
Do you think that there will be reductions or a look at the Medicaid programs and how those are funded?
I don't know yet. The president has been very clear that he doesn't want to do anything to affect Medicaid benefits. We won't touch Medicare. And I don't know how much Medicaid will be impacted, but I think the president's been very clear that he doesn't want to lower benefits. That doesn't mean that we can't make some changes. For example, requiring able-bodied people who are under the age of 55 and don't have any kids at home to work, to get a job, because Medicaid and other welfare programs were meant to be bridges, not parking lots. But that's not affecting benefits.
There was a recent report, Senator, that DOJ discovered some Social Security administrative law judges that had 95 to 100% rates of overturning or approving appeals, and which could have led to some massive abuses of the system. Have you seen those reports, and is there any thought on how to address that?
Yes, and I'm a big Elon Musk fan. I think Mr. Musk is doing an extraordinary job. The man has tiger blood. He's taken on something that has been talked about for 50 years in Washington, D.C., and he's doing it. It's painful. But, as I said earlier, remodeling is messy. Mm-hmm. You got to keep your eye on what the things are going to look like when you finish. And we have got to reduce spending. We just got to. There's no way we can sustain this. And Mr. Musk has found an enormous amount of what I call spending porn. Just rank, blatant, abundantly clear waste of taxpayer money. And I applaud him for it. I think the guy's a rock star, man.
Yeah. Well, I love your comment. You're going to be a bear, be a grizzly. That's another classic John Kennedy line that I think we'll hear again in the future. So thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Thank you, guys.
Yes, no, Senator, we appreciate your time. Have a great week. Happy Easter to you. And we'll look forward to having you on the show probably in another month.
Hello to everybody in Central Louisiana. I miss you.
We miss you too. Thank you, Senator. Have a great day. And
Thank
Nathan
you.
and I will be back right after this.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics with 27 providers and 3 locations. Someone can see you today. Stick around. More of Talkback is on the way.
This is Dr. Jonathan Hunter with The Clinics, where we pride ourselves in providing exceptional care. We offer a wide range of services, including primary care, family and chronic care, acute and urgent care, podiatry, and gastroenterology, along with an on-site lab and x-ray. Our new family medicine physician, Dr. Noah Miller, is accepting new patients. Same-day appointments are available, and most insurance and Medicare are accepted. The Clinics, Marksville, 4242 Highway 1192, 402-4073, online at theclinics.us.
Attention all real estate agents, property owners, and lenders. When you or a client needs a real estate attorney,
Call the professionals at Thompson Law Firm. Whether the legal matter is basic or complex, the Thompson Law Firm can accurately guide you or your client to a successful outcome. That's why numerous industry professionals have trusted the Thompson Law Firm for years. They also handle estate planning, successions, and business law. Call them at 473-0052. I am a paid non-client attorney spokesperson.
Louisiana, get ready. Coming soon to a lottery retailer near you. The hottest tickets in town. The heat is on. Play Spice It Up from the lottery. Win up to $5,000. Fiery wins are ahead. When you play Fire It Up, win up to $20,000. This ticket is smoking hot. Cash in and pick up White Hot Bingo with a top prize of $30,000. Feel the sizzle and blaze your way to riches. Play Blaze It Up with a scorching top prize of $100,000. Play all 4 red hot scratch-offs from the lottery. Also, it's a ticket for all seasons. Play Louisiana Seasons, top prize $200,000. Louisiana Lottery, giving you a reason to smile. Must be at least 21 to purchase.
Fiery wins are ahead when you play Fire It Up from the lottery. Win up to $20,000. Stop at any lottery retailer and pick up Fire It Up today. This ticket is smoking hot. Cash in and pick up White Hot Bingo from the lottery. Top prize, $30,000. Visit your favorite lottery retailer and ask for White Hot Bingo today. Louisiana Lottery, giving you a reason to smile. Must be at least 21 to purchase.
The Greenhouse presents Your Pet's Bedtime Prayer. Now I lay me down to sleep. The king-size bed is soft and deep. I sleep right in the center groove. My human beings can hardly move. I've trapped their legs, they're tucked in tight, and here is where I pass the night. So thank you, Lord, for giving me these human beings that I see. The ones that hug and hold me tight and share their bed with me each night. The Greenhouse.
Now back to Talk Back, 970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO.
All right, and we are back. Let's go to the phones. Good morning. You're on Talkback.
I picked up just before Senator Kennedy came on, and Mr. Bridges was talking about someone named Allen, presumably a mayor, and I'm not familiar with that tale.
Oh, yes, sir. That is the story is regarding Mayor Rick Allen, who is the mayor of Leesville. And the story is covering a settlement that the city made regarding 2 sexual harassment cases. And there were concerns in the story, or the story talks about concerns that the council wasn't given full information when they voted on the settlement, and that it was kept out of the that the local citizens didn't know what was going on, and so that's sort of kind of come to the surface. The lawsuit was settled, I think, 4 years ago, but KALB also did a story last night because you had some folks that were protesting City Hall asking for the mayor's resignation because of the lawsuit and the allegations.
Oh, that's interesting. You do know that Mr. Griffon does not have a high opinion of Mr. Bridges.
Yes, as we are aware.
You know, the problem with any kind of reporting is it can either be factual or directed. And my wife does genealogy, and she finds old newspapers, and there'll be one side on one paper in the town on one side, the other paper on the other side, and you can write convincing script that suggests that a person is a scallywag, and another can picture that same person as a saint.
No doubt. I think you can go through history and see that everywhere. Yeah. I mean, you know, you can look at that even in the coverage of President Kennedy. He was definitely a saint, or he was vilified, depending on whose take you read.
Yeah, well, he did apparently like ladies.
I wasn't drawing a correlation, but we'll end on that note because the music is playing. Thank you so much for your call. And Nathan, we have survived an unbelievable amount of audio challenges. But
without Matt Ritchie today, so we'll have to reschedule him.
So the good thing is it's Al and Trisha's problem tomorrow. And by the way, Matt Ritchie's out this week, which was why he was not with us today. We may try to get him on next week. Have a great day.
The opinions expressed were those of the hosts and callers, and not necessarily those of Cenlaw Broadcasting.
FM 104.9, AM 970, KSYL, and KRRV 100.3 HD3, Alexandria. It's 9 o'clock.